This topic is ridiculous. Grimes casually admits to DDoSing and basically blackmailing a blog that made fun of her. Cue the part where people talk about being out of touch, or what I would like to think of as like, is that really the proportional response that you want to give to something like this?
Grimes is really I respect, like, oh, she makes weird choices because she's a creative artist.
That's literally been her thing.
She has made so many strange personal decisions of late.
So this says, Grimes casually revealed that she DDoSed and basically blackmailed Hipster Runoff to take down a picture of her. First, a preamble. We would like, if we can, to keep the Grimes-ishness of this particular newswire to a minimum, which is tricky since it's about Grimes. But even so, please take a read at any jokes. Please take as read any jokes you might need to see in this space about Elon Musk, secret babies, the hair curses of Azalea Banks, etc. This story instead is about an anecdote that Grimes told to Vanity Fair recently as part of a larger profile of the musician ahead of her upcoming book or album, Book One. Sorry, as part of
Vanity Fair. Sorry, that Vanity Fair whole thing. Like, Vanity Fair must be like, man, why did she even let us talk to her?
Why is she talking right now? She's admitting stuff. Why are you doing this? As part of its 10 Moments series, the publication showed Grimes a picture of her kissing an unnamed woman and got a casual confession of apparent cybercrime back in response.
This is after they, like, determined she had a daughter and, like,
this is the picture that she cared about so heavily, the one in the top corner there.
It's not bad.
2012. I did do I went on like a kind of a deep dive of like trying to figure out like what she hated so much about this website, right? And they do go at her pretty hard, but we'll get through the article first, and then I'll show you. So it says, specifically, Grimes recounts how she was able, how that particular photo from 2012. Wait, am I back on the right screen there? Yes, I am. Okay, got leaked, causing her to get canceled before the woke era, which is to say that it ended up on Hipster Runoff, a blog firmly situated in that earlier era of the internet when a talent for brutal and nasty comedy, a dab hand at meme craft, and absolutely no worries about choosing targets could launch an anonymous one-person outfit to success. So it's a tabloid rag, basically, is what they're saying. Grimes did not enjoy Hipster Runoff creator Carl's take on the photo or what it supposedly said about her career, or several other stories he penned about her in the early days of Same. So she turned to an unnamed friend at a video game company to help out. She said the said friend proceeded, in Grimes' words, to DDoS Hipster Runoff. That is, run a dedicated denial of service. I think they mean distributed denial of service attack. Maybe those words are interchangeable there. Attack on the site, rendering it inoperable. An interview with Carl's at the time by Vice, which we found through the piece by Jackie Singh, reveals that the attack was actually quite a bit more damaging than that description makes it sound, reportedly destroying backups of most of the site's posts in the process. Grimes then, in language we're guessing no lawyer okayed, basically blackmailed Carl's into taking the article about her down. That is a crime.
Did Carl's know when he did his interview that it was
I have no idea.
Do you think he is now turning around like, excuse me, Grimes? Or are you about to see like litigation on this?
I went through and I because the site is gone, nuked, I went through the Wayback Machine and started trying to find stuff on this on her through this website. And they did post a lot of articles about her because Hipster Runoff was very relevant to hipster culture back then. So somebody who's like an indie darling music-wise is going to get a lot of attention. It says, there's like one here. It says, do you prefer Claire Boucher or Bobby Boucher? That's her real name. Yeah. So there's all these pictures. And then there's one here. It says, Grimes acts like insane woman in new video. Does she look hot, crazy, or both? Those aren't up there. Yeah, you'll have to look. I kind of went down a rabbit hole and found this. All of these articles are about her on that website, but it was a website dedicated to her, aspect of what the kind of culture she was involved in at that time. Most of it seeming to question whether she was authentically an indie darling or if she was a packaged product by legacy companies. And that seems to be the extent of what they cared about when they were talking about her. But that photo, by today's standards, is extremely tepid and nothing too special or crazy.
Yeah, I was like, I think that was a Skims marketing campaign. I think Kim Kardashian used something like that.
Yes. So it says the wildest thing about this is where tragically an inevitable patina of Grimesishness can't be kept off the furnishings, is the matter-of-fact pride Grimes exhibits about her coolest hacker moment. This is clearly not, in the telling, an admission of wrongdoing, although it is, by even a pretty loose reading of various U.S. cybercrime laws, probably a crime. It is absolutely a crime. She
also, she said, this is my coolest hacker moment, but
she didn't do it.
But I got a friend to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So your coolest hacker moment was knowing a hacker?
Yes. Hacker adjacent, I guess, would probably
also,
be
a friend, someone she was dating?
Not to mention now that guy's got to be scared. She can afford the lawsuit because she's married to Elon Musk if something happens.
They're not married. They have broken up because they have kids. She's supposedly dating Chelsea Manning.
I saw that. Well, my guess is that if she was to get sued,
what's happening?
My guess is that if she gets sued, the mother of Elon Musk's children isn't going to let his
he will, because he's like, I want
full custody.
I've made a strategic mistake, and it's time for you to leave.
So it says it's a story about Grimes using this is the part that got me. It's a story about Grimes using cleverness and connections to someone at a video game company to beat a bully at his own game. Acceptance of that narrative is going to hinge, obviously, on how Grimes-ophilic you might already be. No. Even somebody who likes Grimes can admit that what she did was not be clever. What she did was commit a crime.
Also, can't she just sue him?
Yeah.
I
guess the money for it.
I get that the legal system is slow, but that doesn't mean you get to vigilante this system, right?
They're also fairly honest about that. And it also depends on your attitude towards the indiscriminate, blistering meanness style of pop culture satire. Hipster runoff once represented. So it was a site that kind of like Gawker was very edgy in their content.
I get that, but there is a right to free speech and free publication, right? Defamation suits against publications are actually very difficult. But on the other hand, why did she specifically take issue with this one site? I bet a lot of people are saying mean things about her.
The comments are kind of are kind of fascinating.
It says,
I'm canceled. It says, I'm canceled. It says, woman who hasn't been out of the spotlight in a decade since it happened. There's another one that says, is this sentence missing some essential context? I'm struggling to understand what it even means. Even setting aside the obvious fact that she was not actually canceled in any sense, why would she imagine that to have happened for a picture of her kissing a woman? Why would she imagine that would have happened for her a picture of her kissing a woman? And this is before the woke era. Is that part of the clue? Was canceling a homophobic thing that people did in the time before? So all these comments are basically about was this proportional response to basically someone saying they don't like you?
See, that's why I mean, why is she taking up such specific... I get that, Hipster Runoff might have had a particularly intense style, but, this actually seems more like a personal attack at the owner.
Yes.
Which is hard not to be well, I can't look at it as oh, you got that bully, you corrected him.
Yep.
It seems like there's more to this than that.
Yep.
Also, that she would feel so comfortable just announcing she DDoS someone or
that's kind of crazy that she felt very comfortable admitting to something that's a very serious crime.
It's actually a crime, and she's like, yeah, I did that. She doesn't feel like there are any consequences to her actions, and that is unnerving.
So I talked to Andy about this earlier. I asked him about it, and he says...
Andy's our tech officer, in case
at the company here, Andy does... he's our CTO, he's our technical officer, he does everything involving our network, all that stuff, as far as I know. So he's very well read in this stuff. He says a DDoS attack can shut down an online business's revenue for the duration, potentially longer if it leads to damage, or in some cases, they might even be paying for bandwidth based on how much traffic comes up on the site, which can rack up huge charges. So not just cost them money in what they're making, but cost them money in their output as well. He says, and while it's arguably it's not a very serious crime in the scheme of possible computer crimes, the language of the relevant legislation was written at a time when they thought hackers were basically wizards with magic powers that could cause a nuclear nuclear war by whistling into a payphone. So consequently, even just trying to guess your buddy's Facebook password for a prank could technically land you in jail for years. So this is obviously much more, there's so much malice to it in the fact that she can just talk about it as if no harm could befall her. I don't know what statute of limitations are in place on something like that. If she even thought that far ahead, like maybe relevant legislation says that she can no longer be tried for something like this. But just the fact that she'd brag about it is kind of disconcerting to me.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's what I mean. Like, it's just this callousness. Like, haha, isn't this funny? This is my cool hacker moment. This thing that I did. And like, I do not expect in any way to face punishment for that. Like, maybe it didn't take down, like, maybe it didn't ruin Hipster Runoff in that one go, but if it damaged the site, you have no idea if that ended up being the reason that it's not still around today.
Yeah. So I
just can't imagine. Can you imagine if this was like someone who, like, I just can't imagine like how it would react if anyone else said this. And I think the same way. Like, what do you mean? You're just admitting casually to a crime?
Does it kind of signal a certain amount of disconnection from society and the real world?
Yeah, for sure. Also, like, it's like she is so interested in technology and like being kind of edgy that she's like, I was a cool hacker because I knew someone who was a hacker.
Yeah.
But also, like, if she was like, oh yeah, that guy was going to publish a photo of me, so I repeatedly hit his car until he got to stop, like, that would be crazy. And we'd be like, that's also a crime.
Yep.
And yet it doesn't matter because she's...
All of this over a picture of her kissing. And by the way, I did a cursory Google search. I was able to find the picture of the picture that was relevant to the...
I think we're all on the same page here.
Yeah.
Like, this is a weird thing of Grimes to just casually admit. This Vanity Fair thing is it fully out, or are they just releasing it in pieces?
I have no idea. I'm just reading the article from AV Club.
This this in-depth interview for Vanity Fair really seems to be Grimes trying to like launch to get as much attention as she possibly can on her, because she accidentally maybe left her secret baby upstairs and then was like, I can't talk about it. Here's all of the information and a voice memo on how to pronounce her name.
Yeah.
Also, here's this story that I know is going to be edgy.
And she used the term basically blackmailed.
Yeah, like, she knows what she's doing, and it makes me think that like there is something else at play here. I guess she's really trying to hype her album. Maybe she's really trying to make sure she's relevant now.
It's a very costly one if something happens.
Now that she's no longer officially tied to Elon Musk. Like, I don't know what it is, but like, it makes me think that this person is like not someone worth... I would not trust Grimes.
I would not.
I'm surprised Elon has had 2 kids with her. That makes me question him.
Well, what song have you heard from her?
I haven't heard any of her
I listened to a couple of her albums, like with friends and stuff. I can't name any of them. I'm not saying that she's a bad artist. It's just like this whole publicity situation, specifically tied to the Vanity Fair article, seems kind of intense.
Yeah.
I'm only asking because, like, why is she so important on the celebrity list? Like,
I have no idea.
She's not A-list celebrity, but at the same time, is she? I don't know.
She's not, but Elon Musk is extremely culturally relevant. So,
well, yeah, he's on the A-list right now.
Well, yeah. So he's very culturally relevant. So she, by proxy, is also culturally relevant. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.